I didn't expect these two engineer boots to fit this different on foot, especially since they share the same DNA. On paper, the choice between waxed kipskin and heavyweight Nubuck seems like a simple aesthetic decision. But after living with both, there's one major functional difference that completely changed my perspective on which one is actually the better daily driver. There's a hidden detail in the way these leathers break in, a specific pressure point at the instep that decides exactly how long you can stay on your feet. This one factor can turn masterpiece into a punishment. After just 20 minutes, I'll show exactly what that fit reality is, and which boot puts a limit on comfort at the instep, once we look at how these leathers actually move during the stride. Today we look at the two standout models from Attractions. First, the Lot.603 Limited in waxed heavyweight kipskin, pretty much their flagship tough leather. Then we have the Lot.329 Limited, the Swiss-style heavyweight Nubuck engineer. Both keep that slim traction swap, but the structure is totally different. Even at the heel, the 603 keeps back cleaner, while the 329 features a more traditional external backstay panel. One stiff and waxed, so it holds a rigid, winged form. The other is softer and textured, with a more contoured shape. Even before we get in the leather feel, you can tell these two are meant to wear differently. The 603 Limited kipskin is dense. It's got this waxy, oily finish that feels like it's armored. It doesn't just show character, it fits back. On the other hand, the 329 Limited is labeled as suede, but it's really heavyweight Nubuck, and the texture has really depth. It feels soft, but it still has serious substance. Do you go for the armor-like wax leather look, or the deep velvety textured heavyweight Nubuck? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious if most people feel the 603 or the 329 visually. If you are finding this helpful so far, don't forget to subscribe for more reviews. Since these are limited edition pairs, you are paying for a higher grade leather, but that's a trade-off. The break-in is tougher at first. The 603 Limited requires a bit of negotiation. Because the kipskin is so dense, the initial flex at the bottom foot is significant. The 329 Limited, however, feels more forgiving from anyone. The Nubuck has a bit of natural give, so it flexes with your foot, unlike the stiffer wax leather on the Pioneer. Speaking of break-in, what's the longest you ever had to fat a boot before it finally felt like yours? 3 months? 3 days? Where do these kinds of leathers usually land for you? On foot, both boots keep a slim engineer profile, especially under denim. But once you start walking, you notice they carry their volume very differently. The 603 Limited lace flatter costs a toe and wamp. From the side, the top line looks lower and straighter, so the boot gives off that broken vintage profile. Even when it's new, the 329 Limited feels more shaped through the middle of the foot. The wamp doesn't just lie flat, it wraps more, and the boot has stronger sense of structure around the instep, so the silhouette looks a little more sculpted, and the feet feels more guided when you're moving. And that brings us back to the detail I mentioned earlier. The real reason they feel so different comes down to the last, which is basically the foot shape mold the whole boot is built around. The 603 Limited is built on Attractions AO12 Pioneer last, and you can see it from the side. It has a straighter, flatter top line, and doesn't push as much head through the vamp. That's why the 603 looks sleeker and flatter in profile, and the weather fit feels more straightforward and traditional. The 329 Limited is built on the A008 frame and last, and this one is more curved and more shaped through the waist and instep area. That shape is what gives you that held feeling in the midfoot when you walk. It feels more contoured, more supportive, and a bit more ergonomic underfoot. So if the 603 is that straight ahead vintage silhouette, the 329 keeps the slim engineer vibe, but adds more shaping through the arch and the instep. The 603 Limited is going to develop more defined creasing over time. As the wax finish settles and flex points form, you start to see more shape and contrast in the vamp. It's for the person who wants a vintage, hardware patina, where the creases and edges start showing character early. The 329 Limited is for the person who wants a rugged, textured look where everyday scuffs tend to blend in. But there's a trade-off. Because it's a leather color, it's far more susceptible to indigo transfer. If you wear raw denim, those shafts are going to pick up blue pretty quickly. If I had to keep just one for a long trip, it would be the suede for all-day comfort. But for the Lexi look, the Pioneer is untouchable.